Kuala Lumpur is a city that moves quickly, and after a few days in the center, I felt the urge to step away from that pace and spend a day somewhere quieter. Today, I'm heading to Klang, Selangor's former royal capital, 45 minutes from Kuala Lumpur. Shaped by trade and migration, Klang blends Malay, Chinese, and Indian cultures. For many Chinese Malaysians, Klang is best known for one thing above all else, Bak Kut Teh, and that is exactly what drew us here today. I had originally planned to take the KTM commuter train into Klang, which is usually the most straightforward option, but ongoing track works meant services were limited to peak hours only. That left us with the next best alternative, the Wawasan bus, which departs near Pasar Seni in central Kuala Lumpur. The bus itself is simple and functional rather than modern or stylish, but it runs frequently, costs only 3 ringgit 50 cents each way, and most importantly, leaves on time. The driver was friendly, and most of the passengers on board were locals and foreign workers rather than tourists, which already gave the journey a more everyday feel. Sometimes the less polished option turns out to be the most interesting one. We arrived in Klang at around 10:30 in the morning, and the change in atmosphere was immediately noticeable. Our first stop was Little India, located along Jalan Tengku Kelana, one of the liveliest and most colorful parts of Klang. Bollywood music poured out from shop fronts, selling saris, spices, garlands, and gold jewelry, while banana leaf restaurants buzzed with lunchtime activity. The air smelled of curry leaves, incense, and hot oil. This street even has a famous fortune-telling parrot, adding a whimsical surprise. If Klang had to be represented by a single dish, it would undoubtedly be Bak Kut Teh. Many Malaysians travel far for Bak Kut Teh here, widely believed to have begun in Klang. For lunch, we chose one of the town's most famous names, Seng Bak Kut Teh, also known as Bak Kut Teh, under the bridge. Seng is located along Jalan Besar, inside a modest pre-war shophouse with a simple signboard that doesn't draw unnecessary attention to itself. The name, Under the Bridge, hints at the restaurant's origins and long history in the town. By the time we arrived, just after 11 a.m., the dining room was already filling up with a mix of elderly regulars, families, and domestic tourists. Near the entrance, metal pots simmer as trays of pork, offal, tofu, and eggs wait to be assembled. Meat first, then dark herbal broth, poured in smooth practice motions. Despite the growing crowd, service is fast, and many diners receive their food within minutes of ordering. Customer service, however, can be inconsistent. Some visitors speak warmly of the lady boss, who often greets guests at the entrance, while others have experienced curt interactions during busy periods. As with many long-running food institutions, timing makes a difference. Klang serves Bak Kut Teh in individual bowls, each customized to a specific cut of pork. We ordered a bowl of half-lean, half-fat pork, along with a small bowl of intestines. The lean meat pulled apart easily, showing that it had been thoroughly and patiently braised, while the fatty portions remained silky and intact. The skin had that unmistakable gelatinous sheen that comes from long cooking, offering a tender, springy texture without turning mushy. The intestines were especially well done, clean, evenly cut, and completely free of any off-smell. This is often where Bak Kut Teh stalls struggle, but Seng handles it confidently, delivering chew and richness without any unpleasant flavors. The broth is deep brown, almost black, herbal and savory with a gentle bitter-sweet finish. I found it comforting rather than aggressively medicinal. Personally, I treat Malaysian and Singaporean Bak Kut Teh as two different dishes rather than direct comparisons, and I enjoy both for what they are. White rice is served plain and fluffy, doing exactly what it's meant to do: carry the meat and soak up the broth. Sadly, the youtiao were gone by the time we arrived, something that often happens later in the morning. Tea, however, is non-negotiable. We ordered pu'er, served hot and refillable, and it did its job perfectly, cutting through the richness of the meal and slowing the pace just enough. Seng Huat remains a quintessential Klang experience, deeply rooted in history, full of character, and at its best during the morning hours when ingredients are freshest and service is at its most efficient. When everything comes together, it delivers a deeply satisfying bowl of traditional Klang Bak Kut Teh. At the same time, its reputation means expectations run high, and it may not meet them consistently for every diner. In total, we paid 59 ringgit, which felt like very good value given the amount of meat and side dishes we ordered. Pro tip: if you're visiting, arriving before 9 a.m. gives you the best chance of experiencing Seng Huat at its best. After lunch, we took a 17-minute walk to Keng Ki Lenchi, a 70-year-old stall known for a playful dessert called aeroplane water. The story goes that a Klang customer coined the name aeroplane water for this mix of seeds, jelly, and fruit around 30 years ago, and it's been called that ever since. It is essentially a layered iced drink made with milk, syrup, jelly, seeds, and fruit. While the flavor itself wasn't particularly memorable, the ice was incredibly refreshing in the 32 degrees Celsius afternoon heat, and sometimes that's exactly what you need. Before boarding the bus back to Kuala Lumpur, we stopped by the Sultan Abdul Aziz Royal Gallery, originally intending to use the toilet facilities, as museums are usually a reliable option, and this one has free entry. Once inside, we found ourselves staying longer than planned. Housed in a colonial building from 1909, the gallery traces Selangor's royal history from 1766, and the building itself has lived many lives, from British administration to a Japanese headquarters during World War II. It turned out to be one of the day's quieter highlights. Klang isn't a place that demands attention. Instead, it rewards those who are willing to slow down, walk a little, eat thoughtfully, and notice the small details along the way. For travelers who appreciate food with history and towns with texture, Klang makes for a deeply satisfying day trip. And sometimes, one day really is enough.